Okay, welcome everybody to the EATRIS Cell and Gene Therapy Development course. My name is David Morrow and I am the EATRIS Scientific Lead for Advance Therapies. For those that don't know, EATRIS is a European research infrastructure for translational medicine. For most of you that will join this course will already have a working knowledge of what advanced therapy medicinal products are, or ATMPs. But it's important to remember that they are a new class of living drug. We are all familiar with small molecules such as ibuprofen and classic drugs like that have been around for over 120 years. Then we have biologics such as monoclonal antibodies, hormone replacement, and so on, about 30 years. But over the last 10 to 20 years, we have the advance or rise of what we refer to as advanced therapies. These are living drugs which are made up of somatic cells, gene-modified cells, in vivo gene therapy, and engineered tissues. What's important to remember, though, is that for the first time, they represent a game changer, a life-changing living drug. However, with great promise comes great complexity. What is the promise and opportunity of ATMPs? Well, first of all, ATMPs represents a major leap in personalized medicine that uses the individual's unique genetic makeup to tailor a treatment for the patient. They offer a living drug alternative where there currently is none, such as in rare diseases, and we'll talk a bit about that in a minute. And they have the potential to address complex diseases such as motor neuron disease and other diseases with limited treatment options. Overall, they provide life-changing benefits to patients and to their families. Over the last 10 years, we have seen something like 28 different products be approved with some fall off the market. This is classified by the EMA, the European Medicines Agency. Why not more? Well, let's look at some of the promises and opportunities we've already seen. A lot of our students that will take this course will be familiar with CAR-Ts. This is a new therapy called, for example, Kymriah, which is indicated for the treatment of pediatric and young adult patients up to 25 years of age with B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia that is refractory, which basically means no current therapy had worked for these patients. One of the classic examples where this has worked is Emily Whitehead, whose life was saved using Kymriah. In 2012, she was the first child in the world to have her immune cells trained to fight cancer. Today, Emily is 11 years cancer-free. So this is a prize example of how we realize the promise of ATMPs, such as CAR-Ts. However, despite Emily's story, CAR-Ts don't work in every patient. 50% they fail, and those that do work initially, another 50% will relapse. So understanding the key translational challenges in all aspects of ATMP development are crucial for the success of these living drugs. So what are the aspects that you as an ATMP student are interested in? Well, another area is rare diseases. 7,000 rare diseases now affect more than 300 million people worldwide. But 95% of these rare diseases, there are no therapeutic options. Because 80% of these rare diseases have a genetic origin, the recent development, again, of these living ATMP drugs has opened up new opportunities for these diseases that's even potentially curative. However, innovative approaches are needed to solve the technical challenges such as robust and scalable manufacturing, well-recognized and agreed standards, and critically a collaborative and networked ecosystem that's capable of moving forward all of these above-mentioned components together to address these diverse technical challenges. In Europe, we now have an initiative called ERDERA, which aims to improve the health and well-being of the 30+ million people that live in Europe with rare diseases. Give a very short overview of what ERDERA is. It's about a year and a half old, 178 organizations, 40 funders, 81 research performing organizations. We have patient organizations, research infrastructures, public, private entities, university hospitals. This is spread across 37 countries, 26 EU member states, 8 associated countries, and 3 non-EU. I won't go into detail about the different components, but I would encourage you all to go to the ERDERA website to find out about the different aspects of this initiative, from the funding aspect to the capacity alignment to the clinical research network. But one strong and major component of ERDERA is to look at the utility of advanced therapy medicinal products for treating rare diseases. And in this project, we look to use training where we can teach students like you to become better ATMP scientists, that in the future, this can be used to help develop new therapies for rare diseases. In summary here, it is people, not platform, that can be the real leverage to cell and gene therapy scale up in Europe. Hence, there are four main focus areas that can determine the success and failure of ATMPs during development. This includes the scientific area, the manufacturing, the regulatory, and the pricing and reimbursement. Let's look more specifically at some of those challenges. Scientific challenges. First of all, ATMPs are novel and complex. There's also a lack of precedence. They're quite new. Clinical efficacy is hard to demonstrate, so finding the right potency assay that suggests that your ATMP of interest is doing what it should be doing. There is a lack of accepted standards for efficacy and toxicity in the preclinical development phase. There are risks associated with the administration of these ATMPs, such as surgery or the use of a catheter. There are specific safety issues, such as the risk of integrational mutagenesis of gene therapy medicinal products, unexpected biodistribution in ectopic tissue or tumor formation. Controlled, randomized, double-blind clinical trials are not feasible for most indications, particularly in life-threatening diseases where there is no satisfactory standard of care. Moving on to the regulatory challenges, again, ATMPs are novel and complex. A gene therapy, for example, you're using a transgene, different vectors, genetically modified cells. Cell therapies can be autologous, allogeneic, they are complex, and often in combination. Development requires expertise from several areas, such as cell and molecular biology, biotechnology, surgical expertise, risk management, medical devices, and ethics. The manipulation of cells and the use of recombinant nucleic acids may bear unknown risks, which may not be solvable through standardization or quality control. The product and its safety and efficacy profile needs to be carefully, respectively planned, and the key data should be based on findings that are robust and reliable. In manufacturing, the cost-effective scale-up of ATMPs, for example, most of the development to date has been done in small volume vessels with manual processing, which, one, raises the overall cost of manufacturing, maybe to a point where the sticker price is just not possible for healthcare systems. It leads to quality and consistency issues, not least through the presence of human operators. We are still looking for good enough technology for driving reproducibility and standards that won't break the bank for the developer or the healthcare system. We need methodology for quality confidence at the right time and at acceptable cost. And finally, we need operations modeling to investigate different modalities of production and distribution, such as production on-site in hospital networks or specialized regional centers of excellence. And finally, but not least, the commercialization challenges. You're all aware of the high direct cost of manufacturing of these products, which is linked to the ultimate sticker price that is charged to payers. This is often too high for many healthcare systems. Market approval is often not renewed. For example, Glidera was an ATMP that was approved, but was removed. We have now seen ATMPs that are 3 times this price across Europe that are simply not reimbursed. Complex preclinical and clinical development before market authorization drives these prices up. All the complexities in the previous slides I've just shown you rise the price up. So it is necessary to provide data for each single product, depending on the type of manufacturing process used. Pricing of ATMPs is largely due to the clinical effectiveness of one ATMP versus another, but if it's not known, this is hard to quantify. And this brings in the challenges in the next section of HCA, where no previous data for accurate health technology assessment and appropriate pricing strategies further complicate the process and limits the options for clear reimbursement strategy. So, all these challenges together, it has been the drive of EATRIS over the last few years to try and educate early career ATMP students on all these different challenges that is precluding or inhibiting ATMPs getting to the patients that need them. Our solution to this is the EATRIS cell and gene therapy course, which grows from the advanced course of a few years ago, which was originally a Marie Curie initiative. So what is our cell and gene therapy course? Well, it is a program to train PhDs and postdocs, early career scientists. It is designed to address knowledge and skill gaps in early career education in the field of ATMP development. It consists of webinar series, an online course, which we hope you all will now take, that includes over 7 hours of content from 12 experts. And each year there is 5-day workshops at different locations across Europe. The curriculum addresses the 4 key challenges of ATMP development that I've just walked you through. The regulatory content is also kindly provided by the European Medicines Agency, which we're very grateful for. Another bonus is that this is free of charge and is open to everyone. Currently, we have over 1,000 students registered from over 50 countries, and we hope that you will now add to that list moving forward. So why is EATRIS the driver of this, and why do we put a focus on training in ATMP? Well, first of all, let's just briefly introduce who we are. EATRIS is a European infrastructure for translational medicine that provides facilities, resources, and services to support cutting-edge research. We have over 15 countries, 175 research institutions, we are a non-profit, and we operate across 5 platforms, including ATMPs, biomarkers, imaging and tracing, small molecules, and vaccines and immune monitoring. It is important to note here that one of the advantages of having 5 platforms, for example, in ATMP development, is you bring the different expertise, for example, immune monitoring or imaging and tracing to support ATMP development. Our mission is to accelerate the translation of research discoveries into patient benefit, and we do this by using the capacity and expertise that resides across those 175 institutions to support academia, industry, patients, and policymakers. What we do specifically is we provide access to the research and services that reside across their infrastructure. We do that to help develop new research tools, provide education and training, such as the cell and gene therapy course, but overall, we strive to improve the conditions of translation. If you're looking at ATMPs, this platform currently has 55 state-of-the-art centers that provides all the cutting-edge technologies required to develop ATMPs and bring them to the patients that need them. This includes the design and production of ATMPs at GMP level, the preclinical tools that assess their safety and efficacy, imaging facilities, animal studies, such as for cell tracking, characterization and monitoring of these treatment-related immune responses, and so on. But also the clinical expertise and access to the patients that can validate the efficacy and safety of the ATMP in development. So how do we make the bridge between research and clinical application in cell and gene therapy? Well, we do this by training the next generation of ATMP scientists like you. So again, I would like to welcome you all to the EATRIS Cell and Gene Therapy Development course. We really hope that this course is useful for you and you get to learn all aspects of ATMP development and maybe choose one of those 4 key areas that you may find a career that you are interested in moving forward. On behalf of the EATRIS training, we'd like to hope you enjoy the course, and we hope to meet you in person sometime along your journey in the coming years. But thanks to our funding and partners, and we hope that all of you enjoy the course and stay in contact.